Welcome to the Executive Insights podcast, brought to you by AWS. My name is Jana Werner. I'm with the Innovation and Transformation team at AWS, and I have the huge pleasure of having here with me Alexey Zayets. You are the Chief IT and Cloud Architect for Privatbank. Welcome to our podcast. Great to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about what your role is and what the role of Privatbank is for the Ukrainian country?
Hi, Jana. Hi, everybody. Thank you for invitation. It's a pleasure for me. I'm really from Privatbank Ukraine, and Privatbank, the largest bank in Ukraine. We are a state-owned bank, and we are serving more than half of our Ukrainian population. We provide classical banking services like credits, cards, deposits, payments for our clients. Also, we are famous by our mobile banking application called Private24, which served more than 13 million of our clients.
So more than half the Ukrainian population depend on your services and your products and your support.
Yeah. Absolutely. We are quite important for our financial system of the Ukraine.
And things got quite difficult in February 22, didn't they? Can you share a bit the situation as the war started and what that meant for your people and for your customers?
Sure. At the end of February 2022, unfortunately, a full-fledged war came to Ukraine, and our people, we have very brave people in Ukraine, but even in these circumstances, they are scared. We got a lot of losses of our infrastructure in Ukraine. We lost about $1 billion as damaged or destroyed critical infrastructure. Our financial metrics like GDP reduced up to 45%, and our inflation rate increased up to 30%. But first of all, the main priority for us to save our people, our employees, and our customers.
Yeah. I guess it was a challenging time for your people, right? I think you told me you did a lot to protect and support them through a very difficult time and trying to keep your services going for your customers as well.
Sure, we protect our people by relocating to the western part of Ukraine, by where the most safest place in Ukraine, but unfortunately we don't have such places now, and our people, especially head office, working from shelters, bringing with them their kids because our school almost closed, and we are lucky because our head office staff had experience how to work remotely after the COVID period, and that's why our operational processes not impacted. But of course, this is very big stress to our people. Every day missiles attack, every day searching for news about changing on the front lines. Every day we have these air alarms and of course, it's very hard to our employees.
I can imagine. And I even saw when I was with you yesterday, you were checking missile attacks on your phone coming up, alerts coming up. This a whole different reality that I can't even begin to grasp.
Sure. Unfortunately, this is our business as usual now.
Yeah. It's a whole different way of remote working than what we're doing from shelters. After February, there were a lot of attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure. So data centers, you showed me photos of data centers being destroyed, issues with networking, internet. How did you manage that, and how did you deal with that in the kind of having in the back of your mind that you need to support your customers? They still need access to their money somehow.
Back in early 2022, we had 2 data centers on Ukrainian territory which provided services and which hosted our IT systems. So we had almost 1,000 of hardware servers which hosted our up to 8,000 virtual machines and stored 11 petabytes of data. So we are quite on-prem based bank this time. And when first missiles attack started in February and early March 2022, we got 2 ones really close to our data centers, and we understood that there are no safe place which we can locate our IT infrastructure on Ukrainian territory, and we started considering some options how to protect our infrastructure and our clients and our bank operations. The first option was obviously to relocate our equipment abroad, but unfortunately we couldn't do it because of a long period of downtime, which is not acceptable to leave our clients without operations. And the second option to rent data center with equipment in Europe. And this option was also not realized because all famous providers of colocation couldn't do it even in 6 months. And that's why the last option which we considered was migrating to cloud, to public cloud. And because of we previously use a small part of AWS services for our digital banking applications, we considered to migrate to AWS. But our national bank regulator was strictly against of public cloud usage in banking systems.
Yeah.
And that's why we are starting negotiations and requesting to allow us to do it.
You said, I think when we chatted the other day, you said that first there was a long period of being nervous about cloud in your country and in most countries, and then with the start of the war, a number of ministers met and very quickly decided that it's now time to do it, right?
Sure, this is only one possible option how to deploy such a large-scale infrastructure in weeks.
You had said, you told me you went to Kiev and the city was completely empty. You were the only one going to Kiev and not away from Kiev, and got advice from the regulator to say, it's war, go.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had many scenarios, and we didn't consider seriously scenario which full-scale invasion will be in the first days of the war near the Kiev. And we treated our Kiev data center as a backup and protected one, but it seems under attack at first.
So the regulator gave you the opportunity to say, yes, you can now go into cloud. And then what did you do? That's a massive opportunity now and a big change, right? Overnight, basically.
Exactly. 8th of March 2022, we started just after regulator allow us to migrate. We immediately at the same day started our cloud journey. We work day and night, and we focused on, first of all, critical applications, then important applications. And we started to go to cloud, rehost, relocate, lift and shift, do whatever possible to deploy as quick as possible our infrastructure in cloud.
And I still find this so remarkable. I can't believe it. You did this in 43 days.
Yeah, it was world record. Nobody migrated faster than we, because we, under the title that speed over perfection, we started this migration, and the final goal to provide reliable services to our clients as quick as possible. That's why we have no time, simply have no time to design a landing zone, to design architecture, to make our configuration more reliable and more optimized. And that's why we are working just like we can work.
So what was the original time frame when you, before February 22, when you were planning and thinking about if we go to cloud, how long would this take? What was the original estimate?
I can say that we planned because of regulation didn't allow it, but when we start migration, we met with some companies who had this experience, who had experienced and skilled guys and migrated FSI companies to the cloud. And for our scale, it was about 3 years estimation to make proper migration.
So you went from 3 years to 43 days.
Yes.
That's pretty impressive. What kind of things have accelerated your journey? Obviously, when I work with customers, we find that it's very hard for them to accelerate their time to value. And clearly you have accelerated like crazy. There's been a strong purpose there. War, we know that things like war and like pandemics create a really strong purpose so that people can go and start doing speed over perfection. We know that really good companies and really good transformation leaders can also create this purpose without these external conditions by bringing together a really strong why to do something new, why transform, something that speaks to hearts and minds, something that paints a different vision of the future and that connects people to wanting to move onto the journey. You've had this, of course, coming from the outside, but I'm wondering what are the kind of things that our listeners can learn how to accelerate a journey onto cloud and in general a transformation journey? What are the things where you say these are accelerants that really work, whether you're in your situation or not?
First of all, everybody who participated in this migration understood priority because of we had no other choices to protect our not even banking operations, even country financial system. That's why we understood that this is priority number 0 and migrate 24/7 without weekends, without nights, and people just shifting and working every time.
So one thing we know is that it works when this classic challenge that companies today have, having too many priorities, reducing them, focusing on them, and moving forward with them. It wasn't so easy, right? There were some acceleration killers as well. I remember you saying that when your leadership said we're going to go to cloud, that some of the senior business leaders were quite nervous about that, right?
Yes, unfortunately, not everybody from even IT management believe that our system can work in cloud without deep refactoring and in such a short period of time. And that's why we nominated number of engineers, even not managers, who started migrated at the first line and when our important system was deployed in cloud and we switched over a lot of our customers and it works well, it really highly motivate our teams who didn't believe that it's possible and they start working. So this leading by example help other guys to believe that it's possible.
So showing quick successes and that creates support and ownership and support for people to try and do the same. Brilliant. What are some acceleration killers that you came across in this journey, and how did you deal with them?
Some people in team didn't believe that we got approval from our management that cloud is not secured, cloud is possible we can lost control over our systems and we calmed them down and said that even startups can get approvals and can get budgets and if we have a goal and we go into right direction, we after this migration we did everything compliant, secured, and got every needed approval just post factum. And even this year we had a big audit from National Bank and we successfully passed it without any important findings. So
Brilliant.
Our work is recognized.
That's amazing. So we talked first a bit about clarity. Clarity is an absolute accelerant for transformation. So understanding clarity of why and clarity of I just have a few priorities, I'm clear on them and I can move forward. There's also a big part or another concept that's really important to accelerate is about ownership, giving people ownership. Have you experienced that, or how did you experience that on your journey, on your cloud journey?
Let's start from clarity. When we start migration, we had everyday meetings with our senior management and engineering team every day, even on weekends. And extreme focus from our senior management of our CO and CIO to this project also help resolve blockers immediately to coordinate work more efficiently, and team can ask questions which they have and explain a good achievements, to share experience with others.
Yeah.
And this sharing experience, it means clarity, because any of team members, all of our team members understand what's going on, what's the priority, what blockers hit others, and how they resolve it. And it's really helped. And we even now had these cloud meetings every 3 times per week, and sharing experience, coordinating projects, help others who had some blockers.
So it's another common theme that we see for accelerating transformations is having the executive or leadership support, being there, coaching the team, enabling the team, and moving blockers out of the way. What about ownership? You've shared with me some stories about people really stepping up, right?
Yes, just after migration, we faced in with a big issue with our cost, because we underestimated budget for cloud setup up to 4 times. And it was really shock to our management that we start optimize our systems and right size, do proper configuration of our systems. And we noticed that not all part of our infrastructure covered by attention from IT guys.
Yeah.
And that's why we started this dialogue about ownership. We divide all our landscape on applications, and define new role in organization: IT application owner, who responsible for whole layers of application, not only development or infrastructure, understanding of cloud services, understanding of security aspects, understanding of cost control. This is the main duties of this new assigned employees.
Brilliant. And so now that you've kind of gone onto your journey, you've moved into the cloud, you've consolidated and optimized and understood how to operate in cloud. What can you do faster now that you couldn't do before?
I didn't believe that we can do faster than we did it. But probably we didn't have a super experienced team, and we had only 5 or 6 IT architects and engineers who had experience with AWS. And of course, education of team, if we know that this migration could be happen, we start to educate our people much earlier, and I think it can positively increase speed of migration. But our achievement also, I think, acceptable in our circumstances.
And what things can you do faster now that you are in the cloud? What can you deliver quicker for customers, products, and services?
On top of reliability and security, which we got after this cloud migration as additional benefit, we for our business got additional benefit as agility. And now we can deploy our systems for pilot or for scaling our production load faster, even in hours, not in months like it was previously with on-prem infrastructure. And I had a good example even from this week. President of Ukraine announced a new program to support our citizens in this hard winter period with additional refunds. And we had to open special cards for all our customers. And we opened during 5 first hours of this project started more than 1 million cards.
Unbelievable. That's very impressive. Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. Your transformation journey has taken you from, let's just quickly land in the cloud, let's consolidate it and learn what it's like once we're there and find our bearings. And now you are massively moving on into innovation. So you started to do a lot with generative AI. Can you share a bit what you're doing and how this, how you created the curiosity for people to go and work and experiment, which is, so curiosity is for us the other or the third of the 3 accelerators, the clarity, ownership, but curiosity is really important too, to support and learn and find new ways and experiment. What are your people doing in that space?
The next enabler from our cloud as a side effect of our cloud journey, it was possibility to use AI services from AWS. It was not possible with on-prem infrastructure at all. And we start looking for new opportunities and business cases using these AI technologies now. And we, after this tough optimization waves, we control every penny of our infrastructure. But for AI services, we had a carte blanche, and all teams can experiment, can pilot, can check, tests, validate services. And on top of it, we invest a lot to educate our people to find additional possibilities how to implement and use these AI technologies. We had few examples from this year. As many companies, we started and created our internal chatbot, which help understanding of our knowledge base and providing information to employees and reduce time to customer service and customer consultation. Also, we implement some AI services in financial monitoring and anti-fraud, and now we convert into speech-to-text claims in fraud from our clients, and we reduce a lot of workloads and manual time from employees who listen to these records and making some conclusions. That's why we did it now automatically without really high acceptance rate, up to 90%.
Amazing. So Curiosity you're supporting by giving people the mandate, by pointing at the topics that you want to focus on, generative AI, what can we do with it, how can we get to value, and by getting leadership support to say, focus on this, you don't have restraints, you can experiment and you can learn.
Exactly.
Yeah. And lastly, you shared with me a whole different meaning of what a KPI is. Can you share this with our audience? Because I think it's another brilliant example of how you create clarity and ownership and inside Curiosity.
Yes, our management established new understanding of KPI word. KPI, it means keep people inspired, keep people informed, and we use it to motivate our people to increase their efficiency when people understand what's going on, in which directions we are moving, and what achievements we expect. They work in much more efficient than without this understanding.
You mentioned you have regular meetings where the entire staff can take part.
Yes, and not entire. We have this core team of cloud projects and IT management on this meeting, but we had a recording of this meeting and meeting notes, and many of our IT guys looking into it, and even when accidentally met me, asking about some decision, requesting participate in some projects, so it really works.
Creates curiosity and also creates transparency, which is another good accelerator. When people understand what's going on, when they know where to learn, when they know what focus is, then they can get on with working towards your outcomes. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your remarkable story. Wish you all the best going into your innovation journey now. And of course, we also hope and wish of all the best for all the people in Ukraine and that the situation stabilizes. Thank you so much for coming, making this very difficult way, coming here, crossing the border, coming to the US. Your first time in the US as well, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Are you enjoying it?
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I wish everybody a successful transformation without the war.
Well, absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.